Alright, so it's been a month since I spray painted and customized this goalie stick. So let's take a look at how it's fared, how it's been doing, and what my thoughts are on how this project's gone so far a month in. So for those of you who don't know, 1 month ago I spray painted this goalie stick and added my own personal customized touches to it. Since that video went out, I've used this stick a little over a dozen times at least. One of which was actually in roller hockey. If you want to check out the video, Nasher, great guy. You can see my stick there in a little bit. You can ignore my skills in goalie, but yeah, so the stick's been used quite a bit, and how it's fared so far, well, that's the best I can put it. Through the first 7, 8 games, it actually did pretty well. There was little damage to it. It was really holding strong for a while, but the last half dozen games or so, things have kind of started to deteriorate. So with the up close looks, you will see that the main front face of the stick is beaten up a fair amount. However, it's mainly puck marks, scratches, all that stuff. There aren't a ton of paint chips and kind of deformities in that way, but there are a few larger spots that have kind of chipped away. And if you look at the bottom side, the stick that goes on the ice, so that bottom edge has taken a fair amount of beating and has a lot of chips, dents, and a lot of the paint has stripped off it. I mean, it was to be expected. It's a goalie stick. It's going to take pucks to it. It's going to get beaten up. It was expected that this wasn't going to be pristine a month in. I am very on the fence on how I feel about it, whether or not I've done well or done not so well. But overall, I've loved this project. I loved spray painting it. I loved how it turned out. This is definitely something I will want to do again when spring comes around. I can back outside and spray paint another one. So this stick here, my backup, will probably get spray painted when it gets warm again. But I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to go over some of the key parts of this that I feel like I'm going to address or change when I go to do this again in the spring. So the first thing I'm going to address is the number of coats I use on the spray paint on this. I think the base black coat, I should have checked the video before I did this. I believe I did 4 coats of the base black and then 4 or 5 coats of the green and teal, or seafoam green, I think is what it was. I think sticking with 3 coats for all of them will suffice. In terms of weight added, the stock stick is about 2 pounds, and I think I weighed this one to be about 2.2 pounds, so it's definitely heavier. I have noticed I'm holding it like this in the crease. I can feel the difference between this stick and that one, especially in the weight down here in the paddle, but it's nothing ridiculous. These sticks are already heavy as is. They're 2 pounds as is. They're already pretty heavy. So honestly, that little bit of weight's not a huge difference to me. However, if this was a lighter stick, that would be a pretty big difference. But either way, the weight's not a huge issue. I definitely think sticking with 3 coats all around will help the weight a little bit, but will also help with chipping, which brings up another point of I don't think I sanded this well enough. I think I hit this with 320 grit sandpaper, which I definitely think was a little too fine. It scuffed up the surface of the stick enough, but not. I don't think it scuffed up enough to where the paint was fully kind of getting into it and really sticking. I think it's kind of too slick and it created too much dust, and I just don't think it got a good adhesion to the wood or whatever is under the stick. So coming around the spring, the 2 things definitely is I'm going to do is hit this with a much coarser grain sandpaper and then stick with 3 coats all around, including the clear coat, which brings me to the next part of the clear coat. So with this stick, I honestly applied maybe a coat and a half, 2 coats of clear. Not as much as I wanted. I was kind of rushed at the end, which is the sum of this whole project is rushed. But I definitely think doing 3 coats of clear and then touching it up as needed will definitely be the way to go on this. I've never spray painted before this project, so as far as how well spray paint is supposed to hold up, how well it's supposed to do in this type of environment and what you're supposed to do, I don't fully know. But those are just my thoughts on this and what I think I'm going to address when I do this again in the spring. So those are my thoughts. And then the last thing I want to do when I do this project again is do the stenciling more intricately and a little bit cleaner. One of the takeaways I did not like about when I first did this was the stenciling was not very clean. The shamrock especially was very rough on the edges. Was not a huge fan of it, but from a distance it looked really well. Like, you really couldn't tell from a distance. Like, this camera, from the camera to me, I'm standing maybe 3 feet from the camera, 4 feet from the camera, and you can't tell this is rough. Like, you can, it looks pretty clean. It doesn't look perfect, but it looks pretty clean. But up close, it really gets rough. And so I would like to look into better ways to stencil this and make things a little more intricate, maybe add my name here at the top. My current plan as it stands is to, one, get better masking tape. I don't think I got the most quality masking tape in the world. So one, get some better quality masking tape, but also two, to look into like sticker paper, basically something I can use in a printer to print, but is also a peel away sticker, to then cut out with an X-Acto knife and apply onto here. And it should, one, give me the ability to make smaller stencils, so like my name letters. I tried that with paper masking tape, it just did not work. But if I do sticker paper or something of that nature, I think I can get away with doing smaller stencils. And then also, if I get an X-Acto knife instead of using the box cutter I had for this shamrock, that should also really help me in making much smaller details and much cleaner cuts on this stuff. So that was my thoughts on this project 1 month in. Overall, I'm still very happy with how this turned out. It still looks pretty good. It is degrading pretty well, so we'll see how well it holds a month or 2 months down the road, and how it looks come springtime when I do the other stick here. But overall, I'm still very happy with how this turned out. I think this is a great project, something definitely fun to do if you're into, if you have a wooden stick or something you don't really care about and you want to add customize it. Definitely was very fun to do. I highly recommend it. But hopefully come the springtime I can take the stick out, apply what I've learned from this one, and hopefully make a much cooler design, much more intricate design, but also hopefully one that stands up much better a month and as time goes on. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed watching. Hopefully this project was as cool to you as it was to me to do. Hopefully I've inspired you guys to do something of this similar. Yeah, be prepared to look out for, I guess, part 2 or take 2 on this whole thing. And I will catch you guys all later. Peace out.